Hi, my name is Ashley and I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in February of 2012. One of the main reasons I'm making this video is because a lot of family and friends have asked questions about, since I've been diagnosed, a lot of them have asked questions about the disease, and recently I had a major surgery because of UC and a lot of people have been asking about that, and so I kind of just wanted to make this video to answer all those questions or just tell my story. Because another reason I'm making the video is because I'm active duty Navy. I joined in 2007, and when I was first diagnosed I couldn't really find anything on the internet from people who are active duty with IBD. I did find a couple posts from people on like websites where you can ask questions about the medical board process while you're in the military, but couldn't really find any videos of people who were in the military that had it or anything like that. So I just kind of felt like because of all the stuff I've been through, this is something I could do that was good, and putting it out there, because I feel like I've been given a second chance. Not really at life. It's not like I was dying or anything or facing like a life and death situation. It's just that just the way my disease was toward the end before the surgery, the difference between then and now is huge, and I just kind of want to, I guess, do this because of that. So, disclaimer though is some of you know me from work, so I don't know if this is going to be weird to hear me talking about my poop and my rectum and my anus and things like that. If that weirds you out, I guess don't watch. I don't know what to tell you because it's a huge part of the disease for me. So yeah, that's it. So I kind of just want to give a history of my experience with the disease. So in May of 2010, my husband and I were PCS to Hawaii from California. In California, I never really had any problems with my bowels. Everything was normal, and I definitely took it for granted. After moving out to Hawaii, though, I would have diarrhea off and on, but it wasn't really that bad. It would go away. It was not a big deal. Then in 2011, things got really weird. I had really bad pain in my lower abdomen before I would go to the bathroom. I was having blood, and I was going a lot, and I was having trouble holding it in, and I was having accidents every once in a while. So in November of 2011, I made an appointment with my doctor, and I told her my symptoms, and so she ordered stool samples to be taken and tested and blood work. I think the blood work is to rule out things like celiac, and the stool samples I think was to rule out things like bacterial infections like C. diff, kind of a common one to get in your, I guess, digestive tract. So all those came back normal, except for the inflammation marker on my blood work was a little bit high. So she referred me to a specialist at Tripler who was a gastroenterologist, and he ordered a colonoscopy to be done in February of 2012. So I think I'll probably make a separate video about the colonoscopy and go into more detail then, but basically I got up that morning, I drank the prep that you have to drink. If some of you have had that done, you know how horrible that can be. I was cleaned out, basically. It makes you pretty much clean your colon out for you, cleans your digestive system out for you. Then I went to the hospital and had it done, and they give you twilight sedation, not exactly as strong as the stuff they use when you have surgery, so you're not knocked out completely. But you're not supposed to remember the procedure. And I did wake up a couple times during the procedure, and it did hurt really bad in my abdomen because of the air they put in your colon. They kind of dilate your colon for you. They push air in there so they can get their scope and their camera in. But as soon as they realize and notice that you're starting to wake up, they give you a little bit more of the sedation so that you can get knocked back out. So it wasn't a horror story or a horrible experience, really. I woke up from the procedure. I put my clothes back on. I changed back into my clothes and sat in the office and waited for my GI to come in and tell me what he thought. And that's when he diagnosed me with UC. And then he prescribed Asacol, 3 pills 3 times a day, and sent me on my way. And I didn't really know what any of that meant. I just knew that I didn't have cancer, which I was relieved about, but I had no clue what UC was, and I didn't know that it was chronic until I researched it a little bit on the internet. And that was really hard for me to come to terms with. I was kind of in denial about that. And then a couple months later, my dad passed away, and I went home for that. I was home for about a month. And the medicine didn't really seem to be doing anything for my ulcerative colitis, so I didn't really take it seriously. I kind of stopped taking it on a regular basis like I should have. I would miss doses and just wasn't really taking it seriously. And I dropped from 160 pounds to 114, and everything was just going downhill. I was going a lot more during the day and having a lot more accidents. by the time I came back to the island from being home for a month, I was really sick, horribly sick, but still kind of in denial, which is crazy to think now, being on the other side of it. But at the time, I just lived around my symptoms. I didn't really go anywhere, do much. I just stayed at home because I was, by a bathroom. So I would still go to work, but the drive was pretty short, so I could make the drive. And once I was there, I don't know, I had a bathroom, so I felt like everything was okay. So that became the new norm, even though it's definitely not normal. So finally I went to the ER for pain in my upper abdomen, and they said it was pancreatitis, and they suspected it might be the acetol. So they called in my specialist, they called in the GI, and he said, okay, stop taking the acetol completely, and then we'll take it again in a couple days, and if the symptoms come back, the pain comes back, then you probably have an allergy to mesalamine. And so we did that, and sure enough, the pain came back. So he said, okay, you can't take acetol anymore. So he put me on prednisone. This was November of 2012. He put me on prednisone to kind of tide me over until we could decide on the next medicine to take. So I went to my my husband's stepsister's wedding, and that was in California, and prednisone came at just the right time for that because it made me feel normal. My bowel movements went down to maybe 5 times a day, and they were a little bit more normal. The urgency was gone, the blood was gone, the pain was gone. So I felt pretty good until the side effects of the steroids started to come into play, which is pretty horrible. So I had a really good week in San Diego, and the wedding was awesome, and being with family and friends was pretty cool, but I had to come back to the island, and the steroids, I don't know, I just started to see the negative side effects of prednisone, which some of you probably know. Some of you watching this probably know how bad they can be when you take them long term. So my face blew up and was really round, and it's still a little bit round, in my opinion, rounder than before. So hopefully that'll keep going down. I've been off the prednisone for a little bit now. Really bad acne, which I'm still kind of dealing with now. Insomnia, night sweats, a lot of energy. I had a boost in my energy though. And sometimes people will joke about roid rage, and I did have some pretty bad mood swings, and there were a couple times when I was pretty angry for stupid stuff, but I just was like, oh, it's the steroids, so that was an interesting time. So then in January, we decided to try 6-MP, so that was the next medicine that we were trying, and it's a pill, and it is it's supposed to suppress your immune system, because UC in a nutshell is an autoimmune disease where your immune system, mine was just going haywire and attacking my colon, thinking my colon was something bad, I guess. So this pill suppresses your immune system. I had to choose between that, Remicade, or Humira, so I decided 6-MP. So I took that from January to April, and finally stopped it in April. It wasn't really doing anything for my condition, and it was actually affecting my other organs. It wasn't metabolizing all the way in my body, so the leftovers my liver was having to process, and so my liver enzymes shot up and my white blood cell count dropped really low, dangerously low. So my GI actually called me from his house one night because he was looking at my blood work, and he was like, you need to stop taking it right away. So I tried to taper off prednisone when I was on 6-MP, and that didn't work at all. The symptoms came back horribly, so I had to bump back up to the original dose. And now the 6-MP had failed, so my next step was to figure out if I was going to take Remicade or Humira. And I think that is where I will pick up in my next video.